everybody, this is B back again, and it's been forever since I played this game, and I kind of had to play catch up because I forgot to download it before. Um, so that was an issue, but now we're back. And I've kind of got us back up to where we were, where we last left off. I did change my name to B, so that'll be different. We did basically the same thing. We followed Raymond and all that stuff. I just wanted to say that I really hope you guys consider supporting this person because they have amazing characters. Like, literally, the reason why I'm back on this is because, one, I wanted to finish it because it's the demo, and it's just the demo, and it looks really cool. But also, this has a lot of representation. In the beginning, you can determine if you've always been cis or not. You also get to pick out your sexuality. Well, not sexuality. Well, no. You don't get to pick your sexuality, which later on I guess you do, technically, when you date all these characters, because they have all kinds of different sexualities. Like asexual, they have lesbian, pansexuals, bisexuals, you name it. Sorry, I was looking at the list of the characters and reading all their sexualities. Um, it's overall really cool, I think. So, but you do get to choose your pronouns, is what I was thinking of. I don't know why I said sexuality. I just want to start dating everyone, apparently. So, Rosita says, "Aw." Anyways, we're gonna go on. Aw, here I thought we'd be sticking together. I guess it's just us three. Rosita turned her head and DJ had disappeared now too. They had scampered off to follow the Mets. They hollered at us. Let's split up and regroup later. Cover more ground and whatever. Without giving either of us a word, and Mint's and DJ's figures vanished into the streets. Rude. It's just you and me then, B. Promise you won't leave me either. I have a much better chance of survival tagging along with someone. We're in a completely unfamiliar and different realm of existence after all. A partner at my side didn't sound so bad. Yeah, sure, why not? We can stick together for a while. Yay! Rosita and I made our way through the city. For a fairly large town, it's pretty empty of citizens, and the people we did come across didn't seem to want anything to do with us. Occasionally, we saw something lurking around the corner and inside buildings, but we kept our distance and went unnoticed. Still, Rosita clung to my arm like at a moment's notice one of us would fall or lose sight of each other. Not to mention she would practically lift me up when we ran from even the mildest of noises. Despite her demeanor, Rosita was pretty fit from the way she hauled me around the distance we ran. I asked her to pull over for a moment, exhausted from all the exploring, and to take a breather inside one of the abandoned stores. She took an overview of our surroundings and then audibly gasped, gripping my wrist once more as she led me into a small building. A restaurant? OMG! This place? It's an authentic 1920s Swedish Shakes dinner establishment. How can you tell? I worked at one of the recreations of these restaurants. The recreations play out the retro vibe to 100 with checkers, neon, and metal. But the first few diners were just simple, small family-run eateries in Northern California. Then in the 1970s, Henry Sweet sold the brand, and by the end of the 90s, there were Swedish Shakes on half the street corners in the U.S. and part of Canada. It was all in the instructional 2-hour-long documentary feature employees were required to take a test on for the job. Oh god, I'm falling forward. I know some jobs have some weird requirements to meet before applying, but that's just ridiculous. Beats needing past experience for an entry-level job at other places. Fair. Good point. I took a seat at one of the booths. It wasn't practically comfortable, and something was preventing me from resting my back against the cushions. Huh? Digging around the ripped open leather, I found a set of keys hidden within it. These must be the keys to the diner or something. Little good as it would do now, since after already looking around, the doors were either missing or withered enough that a good shove could bypass any lock. Still, I decided to just pocket the keys for now. Maybe I can find some other use for them later. Hint, hint. Rosita skipped through the employees-only kitchen door, and I could hear the rustle of metal and boxes being moved from here. I decided to rest my eyes for a bit, dreariness starting to take over me as palms cradled my head over the table. What time was it even? Is time even relevant in limbo? I doubted it. There wasn't anything resembling a sun in the sky despite there being light. Just clouds for miles on end. Limbo was meant to be temporary, holding place before humans like Rosita and I ascended or descended with one of the immortals. As rare as it was for someone like me or Rosita to end here, it'd have to be modestly big to even hold 0.001% of the deaths that happen a year. Before I could further bore myself with the math, Rosita had come back, a tray in hand, a big cheery smile. Ding, ding, ding. Order up. One late night crunch special for Miss B. She set the plate in front of me and slid in the seat across from me with an empty glass. Okay, so it asked you your pronouns and then asked if you always always known your pronouns, which I thought was really cool. I looked down at my food. Also, from what I've read, this game is going to be 100% free, but they are taking donations, and I think you guys should support them. I looked down at my food and, ew, Rosita? Yeah? What is this? It's a sausage and hash brown skillet, silly. I got the nickname Late Night Crunch because it's popular with college students. Legend on my campus has it that a student ate this every day before exams and she would get flawless marks. It's like a good luck ritual. Though I think my manager just made that up to get more customers from my college. Probably. Doesn't mean it wasn't delicious. Dig in. Rosita then began to sip from her clearly empty glass and hummed whimsically. Pretend to eat food with her. Obviously, she doesn't expect me to eat this hot plate of garbage. I humor her and stick my fork into the meal and bring it just inches away from my face. It smells awful, but I put on a convincing performance pretending to take a bite. Munch, munch. I said, so good, my compliments to the chef. Rosita giggled, very happy I decided to play along. I'll be sure to let her know. Hey, shouldn't you be working right now? I took my break just to hang out with you, cutie pie. I'll have to let your manager know about this then. Oh, come on, don't be one of those kind of customers. We laughed and enjoyed our game of pretend for a little while longer. It was nice to play make-believe and escape our less than favorable reality. After a few minutes, when the conversation died down, I suggested we take a moment to rest while we had the chance. Rosita agreed and laid her head down, curling up so I decided to do the same and nodded off in my seat. Hello? Oh. It was me who woke up first. I stretched out my muscles and yawned in content. Not the best nap I've had, let alone the most comfortable, but I did feel a bit more refreshed. I got up, looked out the diner's window, and noticed that outside had gone just a bit darker. Best idea is to wake up Rosita and look for the others. She looked so peaceful in her sleep despite the circumstances. I almost felt bad waking her up, but we had to go. Rosita? Zzz. I lightly shook her shoulder and she shrugged it off. Rosita, come on, it's time to go. Her eyes slowly began to flutter open and she sat up with a tiny yawn. I was just having the weirdest dream. Was it the one where you were in limbo? No, it was the one where I was back in high school, and I didn't know where my classes were in the school mascot, and I remember my actual, and that seal would drive in the queue, and I was designed by one of my friends to contest. Once I found my first class, my teacher, he was really nice, everyone, but me, for some reason, I had flippers instead of hands, so I ended up failing my classes. Oh well, that is a weird one. We're heading out now? Yep, best to try to regroup with others. Okie dokie, Pokey. Rosita flipped the restaurant sign to close on the way out. Friends? We may have just met, but that didn't sound too bad, to be honest. A friend like Rosita in the kind of the world? Heck, even on Earth sounds fine to me. Rosita and I were what looked like to be a downtown area. Like the building we explored before, most were inaccessible, empty, or had some shady-looking figures inhabiting them. All except the shopping mall center. In contrast and everything else, it was teeming with life, built around a river with the cleanest-looking water I have ever seen. I knelt down and scooped up some water into my hands to take a sip, thirsty from all the wondering. It actually tasted pretty clean. It was cool and refreshing on my tongue, like I had taken a swig from a water bottle. As tempting as it was to drink some more, I saw some resident taking a bath in the river a distance from us. Wow, I'm drinking their bath water. So the invasive thought of people using the mall river with the same amount of respect as community pool turned me off for now. Because, people piss in those. Whoa, that was weird. While I was busy thinking about that, I ended up losing Rosita, who had wandered off on her own. I doubted she would leave the area entirely, and with the amount of pink on her, hard to miss either. Most of the stores within the mall operated by trade instead of some form of currency. Being relatively new here, I didn't have much on me except for some keys I found back at Sweetie Shake's. Okay. Except... Oh, come on, you gotta sell me that thing. That sounded like Metz. I followed the sound of her voice and found her looking pretty cross at the vendor. From the looks of it, she was trying to buy something off the vendor and looking pretty desperate to convince him. Hello. Tut, lady. This sweet robot toy we got goes for 5 Adam's apples. Your Earth money is no good here, even if it's a crisp hundo. Paper money is as good as toilet paper in my domain. How about you just take the whole wallet? Is that enough? Hell, am we supposed to do with a dinky wallet like that? Can't carry anything in it. But that's a lot of fancy toys you have strapped into your belt there. Much fancier than this one we traded for. He nodded to her tool belt and reached to touch a hammer. Mitz took a step back. Back off, dude. You can't have any of my tools. If I gave you any of them, it would render the whole reason why I wanted the toy pointless. Then we're done here. Scram. Mitz did not look happy at all by this. All this for a silly kid's plaything? Hey, Mitz. B, great timing. You got anything that can trade this bozo for his toy robot? Why? I need it so I can take it apart and use the scrap to build myself a new hand. I'm right-handed, and this incredible brain is useless without 2 functioning hands to tinker. Well, I got an idea, or 2. How can you put that pretty little head of yours to good work? Disgusting. Beg pardon? Uh-oh. Looks like Mitz was about to throw down with the vendor. He didn't seem too tough, pretty scrawny at that. Suddenly, something grabbed me and Mitz by the back of the collar and lifted us inches off the ground. Oh, booty. I looked behind me to see a tall, large Caucasian man was the source of our sudden levitation. Want me to show him out, Mr. Hordes? Yes, Jacobs, if you would be so kind. These broke bitches don't have anything of value to trade with us. Wait! Mitz looked over at me frantically for any idea on how to get the toy from the man. We're gonna offer the keys. It's a long shot, but how about some keys? I managed to reach into my pocket and pulled out the keys, jingling them, hoping Hordes would be enticed. Jacob scoffed. What use would Mr. Hordes have for those? Hordes raised his hand, and Jacobs immediately silenced. We accept your offer. What? Seriously? Even Mitz was surprised by this, as Hordes swiped the keys from my hand and Jacobs put us back down. Does thou judge our judgment? Foolish. As the king of this dump, we can find use in the most shitty of garbage. Like how these keys can make for a wonderful makeshift pair of brass knuckles. He punched at the air around him to demonstrate. Once he realized how silly he must have looked, he returned to his usual ridiculous kingly composure and tossed the toy for Mitz to catch. Anyway, yeah, the robot is all yours. We got bored of it a week ago since it needs batteries. I thought we paused. I thought, because I had to check something real quick. No, beat it. We did just that, and the whole time Mitz was just beaming with energy while already taking apart the toy. Thank you so much, B. I promise if you're ever in heaven, I'll make it up to you. Hey, it's no problem. I doubt those keys would have come in handy since traditional door locks are obsolete here. Would have made a decent weapon like the guy said. She swooped in and gave me a great big hug. A really, really tight hug. Like I think my lungs are collapsing. Mitz, I need air. 3 more seconds. 1, 2, 3. She let go and the air never tasted so good. Oh, come on, you big baby. I was even using half my strength. If that was only half, I don't want to experience you at full power. Only if you ask nicely. She laughed. You know, even if that other guy was pretty huge, I'm pretty sure you could have taken him and nabbed the toy from that weirdo. Probably. But I really don't like having to use these sweet muscles for anything other than hauling machinery and self-defense. As easy it is to brute force my way to a solution, I'm an innovator, not an instigator. Though, I'm glad you came in clutch back there, hun. So, thanks. I owe you one, B. I'll keep that in mind if I need a hand down the line. Wait. Oh, har, very funny. That was accent, I swear. Haha, you bitch, sure it was. Mitz giggled at my attempt to save face, so I decided to change the subject. You're an engineer, or something? A robotics engineer, specifically. But I've dived into other sciences too, like IT. What kind of stuff have you made? Her eyes lit up. I may have died at age 25, but ever since I was a teen, I've been building and innovating tech. Like when I was 14 and still in the egg, I was super into skateboarding, but the homophobic kids in my neighborhood never wanted to play with me. So I made myself a functioning hoverboard to one-up my neighbors. I was still young, so I didn't exactly know how to make it energy efficient. It took a whole week to charge for less than an hour of play. But the look on those fuckboys getting shredded by the neighborhood twink was well worth the grounding my dads gave me when the power bill came in. That's amazing, Mints. Mints blushed from my praise. We walked around for a while longer, Mints looking for anything else she could possibly trade for something useful for her hand replacement. Sadly, technology was fairly sparse in Limbo from what I've seen, and the ones that did catch our eyes were way out of our price range. That being zero. In hindsight, we should have expected that. I feel like I'm in 1800s. Hopefully Haven Homes is at least in the 90s. I'd even take the 80s or the 70s. I'm that desperate. Rosita mentioned one of the buildings we inspected was originally diner from 1920s. So all the other buildings here are pretty old too. Figures. I saw some folks dancing to Louis Armstrong around a gramophone earlier with Roadkill. Speaking of them, where are they? Don't know. Last time I saw them, they scampered off to join those people dancing around the phone. You should probably look for them. Earlier, we ran into someone that was a fan of theirs, and would let us crash at her place for the night while we all figure out what we want to do. DJ Roadkill has a fan here? What are the odds of an encounter like that? About 0.00037%. I did the math in my head when it happened. While I'm cautious about that 1 in a billion, it's a better option than possibly getting jumped in our sleep by someone or something dangerous. That makes sense. Where did you say this group of Louis Armstrong stands were? In the parking lot area east from here. I think Rosita and I came from the main west entrance. Where's that waitress now? She got distracted and wandered off. I'm sure she's still floating around here somewhere. Good. I'll track her down and we can all regroup then. I nodded and headed towards the east entrance of the shopping center. It seems like the Louis Armstrong worshippers had left with the record still playing. Shame. I actually kind of wanted to see that. I took a few steps into the parking lot when I heard someone call out for my attention. Psst, psst, psst. They made those noises someone makes when you're trying to beckon a cat your way. I made my way over to them. DJ Roadkill, was it? DJ Roadkill, DJ Roadkill, DJ RK, yada yada yada. Whatever works best for... Oh, I missed... I feel like I said it... Oh, it's DJ Roadkill, DJ RK. Yeah, okay, I understand. I just repeated the same thing over and over. That's all I was correcting myself. Works best for you. I know it can be a mouthful. But listen, I managed to get the 4 of us a place to sleep for the night. I'm hoping y'all would hear me out about what I had in mind before trying to split ways. Ah, that's right. DJ Roadkill was the one person who wasn't fond of the options Raymond and Kaylee gave. But we can talk about that together later. Right now, I totally gotta show you the place we're gonna stay at. Where is it? You'll see soon enough. So I followed DJ as they merrily led the way to the supposed place. For only being here less than a day, DJ Roadkill sure moved around the streets as if they lived there their whole life. On the way there, we passed by what looked like a small community that had made their homes in some of the more intact buildings. The atmosphere seemed relatively less somber and gloomy in comparison to the rest of the town, but only by so much. We stopped right in front of a church. Somehow, you don't strike me as a religious type. I'm not. Or I wasn't till I woke up in the literal Garden of fucking Eden. Really, I'm still 50-50 on everything that's going on. But that's not the reason I brought you here. DJ hopped up the stairs and I followed. Their hand rested on the church's door handle. Check this shit out. They gave the handle a good yank, and I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. From the outside, it looked like an ordinary church, but the inside was completely different. What was once a church had been remodeled into a nightclub. Beautiful stained glass windows illuminated the dance floor, along with the elegant chandelier, furthering this strange clash of modest to the other. And despite all that, it still somehow managed to be the most normal-looking place I had encountered today. Whoa. Dope, huh? DJ Roadkill's voice seemed to be coming from above me, and I looked up and I saw them hanging upside down from the chandelier hoop. I'm genuinely at a loss of words. And when the fuck did you get up there? Who cares? I've seen my fair share of nightclubs when I was alive, but this is def on my top 10 list. They expertly swung themselves off from the ceiling and back to the ground with ease. DJ seemed to be quite the natural gymnast as they stuck the landing. Faye, the owner, renovated this place all by herself. It's meant to be the peeps in limbo a bit of pleasure every now and then. Meant to give them. She lives in hell, but has some visa or whatever, and brings stuff over from there to here when she can. She also a total cougar, but unromanceable unless the Kickstarter stretch goal is met. Okay, so this is a hint at the game. You gotta get the Kickstarter stretch goal. It needs to be met. I don't know how far they are. Didn't we hit that stretch goal, actually? Oh. What? Okay, so it was hit. Anyways, she sounds pretty cool. Where is she? She's off visiting some of the residents. She said I could perform tonight if I set up the equipment myself. Mind helping me out? Please? Just kidding. You don't have a choice unless you want to sleep elsewhere. With no choice, I guess I helped DJ Roadkill set up the stage for tonight's performance. While we worked, DJ and I made conversation. Well, it was more DJ talking about whatever came to their mind, and me just nodding my head trying to figure out what cable goes where. For a dystopia-looking town, electricity outlets all seem to be functional. I believe dim lighting in most places come from the lack of working appliances to light up areas. Candles, however, were pretty abundant in the club's case, worked as aesthetic. DJ Roadkill sure looked right at home at that. DJ Roadkill. That can't be their actual name, right? I mean, it's the one the demon used for them back in the garden, but and that weird mask that they never seem to take off. I just had to ask. We're gonna ask about the mask. So, do you have a face under the mask, or maybe? Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just a skeleton underneath this. Game theory. DJ Roadkill is a funny skeleton man? You guys get the reference? Oh, will we get a copyright strike for mentioning another IP? Nah, I think that description was pretty vague enough. I laughed at the ridiculousness of what DJ was saying while I popped open a can of Roadkill. I have no idea what you're talking about. But to answer your question is that there is no answer. The mystery of what lies behind the mask is one of the core appeals of my character. I shit you not, most of my gigs I landed are because of my strategically marketable persona. And it's even got me some post-show booty calls, try to keep up. You'd be surprised how many people want to smash while I wear this mask. Not that I'd want to take it off anyways. Don't want to spoil the enigmatic allure to that is DJ Roadkill, am I right? Haha, yeah. Was it just me or did they sound a bit sad there? Maybe I should change subject. What was the plan you wanted to discuss with the others? It's better to talk about it when the others are here. But basically, I just think that, like, we shouldn't jump into the arms of the first person we meet. Even if they are some sort of angel or demon. You know what I mean? Kinda, I guess. After that, it was back to DJ's mindlessly rambling with no filter till we finished setting up the stage. Some time had passed and I noticed through the window that it was equivalent to nighttime outside. And unfortunately, we're going to have to end the video here. So we're going to save. And I'm going to have to end the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.